Hello, I'm James Vivian and welcome to our new series Founder Facials, where we go into the treatment room with some of our favourite business owners to pick their brain as I pick their skin. Founder Facials is all about bringing together like-minded business owners who share a common goal to innovate, disrupt, and most importantly, put the customer first. So today we have the pleasure of being joined by Sarah Tarca, who travelled a very long distance today. She literally lives 20 metres down the road, but thanks for coming.
Wow, it was hard. It was really difficult.
You had to get up very early. Sarah's been invited into the treatment room today because Sarah is a very trusted and respected beauty journalist, having had a long career working for publications such as Marie Claire, Cosmopolitan and Girlfriend, which has led Sarah to create Australia's first dedicated beauty newsletter, which jumps into your inbox every week full of very, very important and curated information for their community. And we wanted to have you in today to talk all about how this started, why it started, and why doing this work is so important to you.
We were seeing sort of what was happening overseas, and that newsletters had started to sort of become more popular and they hadn't really hit Australia yet. You know, we're such print girls and we love the visuals of print, and so we wanted to create something beautiful, and that was non-negotiable for us. We always say, and it's an extension of the WhatsApp groups that we have with our friends. So as beauty journalists, you can imagine our chats are just full of questions from our family and friends, and we just wanted to translate that to a space where it would land in your inbox every single week, but it was designed like a magazine beauty page, so it still had that history that we have, and looked really beautiful, and people could read it in their own time. They didn't have to go online and, you know, find the time to search something. They didn't have to listen to a podcast. It lands in your inbox, you click what you like, you read the information, and then that's it. It's so like low touch, and it's everything. It's the beauty products we've tried ourselves, so we don't put anything in the newsletter that we haven't tried, tested and loved ourselves. It's experts with people like yourself who we use our journalism to journalistic background to interview and put important information. Like, for example, the piece with you was about glycation, and obviously we're not, you know, experts. We need to rely on our community for things like that, and just explaining different things to people in a really digestible, approachable way. So approachable education is our big thing at gloss.etc, and we want to take all the beauty noise out there and sort of put it into a format that everyone can understand, and that's really approachable.
So Sarah, when I was reading your bio, what sung out to me was that you call yourself a digital nomad. And I was very intrigued by that. Does that mean that you feel that you have moments where you don't work digitally, or that you work digitally from anywhere, no set residence?
Yeah, that is the latter. I wish I had time when I was disconnected from the internet, but unfortunately in my job, it's kind of part and parcel that you have to be connected all the time. But we do have a home now, and have done for the last year, but since 2016, my partner and I, and then later on our two kids, had no fixed address, and we're very lucky. Obviously, I'm a journalist. I can work from wherever in the world as long as I have my computer, and my partner was in a similar position.
A real vagabond.
Yeah, a real vagabond who's landed now in Tarca.
Before we jump on the treatment bed, we're going to ask our guests 3 questions to learn a little bit more about them. I'm always very interested, Sarah, to know about what people's personal beauty philosophy is, because beauty means so many things to so many different people. People focus on different areas and are much more casual about others. But what is it that you really focus on, and why have you decided that that's so important for you?
I'm always skin first, and then the rest will follow. So, you know, obviously that's really important to me, especially more and more as I age. You know, if you can sort your skin out and get your skin right first, your confidence, everything else will follow. And there's only so much that you can cover up with makeup. Above all else, sunscreen always and forever. always and forever. There's no point in spending all this money on serums and moisturizers and all these other wonder products if you're not protecting your skin from your sun, because it is the #1 way to age your skin.
I'll challenge you on that because it depends what a client's concern is. If it's age management, nothing is aging as fast than the sun. You're absolutely right. Even the strongest vitamin A in the world is not going to be any match for the damaging effects of ultraviolet radiation. But if you don't care about that and you just want to use your serums to imbue the skin with brightening, hydration, keep it clean and clear, they have their merit there.
Sure.
But it's when it's the age management that is concerned. Sunscreen is #1. It's a non-negotiable. And I talk a lot about, actually, it's the reapplication of sunscreen that is more important than the application itself. Because a lot of people put sunscreen on at 7 a.m. in the morning, it's worn off by 10, but they're actually out and about predominantly between like 12 and 2, and they're completely unprotected. So if there's ever a time to put your sunscreen on, it's actually when you're reapplying it throughout the day that is going to have the more beneficial age management effects. So pop that in your newsletter. Apart from a screaming child, probably, what gets you out of bed when it comes to being excited about your business and into the bathroom, and also what might sometimes keep you in bed?
There's something quite unique about writing about beauty as well. You do get a lot of feedback. There's a lot of two-way communication. People who reach out, and I'm sure you get the same thing, and they say, you've really helped me, you've helped change my skin, or I really didn't know that, or now I'm using this product because of you and I've seen such a great difference in my skin. And that's really rewarding, because I think a lot of the time in roles, you're sort of just putting the work out there and not knowing sort of where it lands. We've got a really tight-knit community at gloss.etc.
And what might keep you in bed?
I've got 2 kids. Nothing keeps me in bed. Oh no, I do. Chasing invoices. I hate chasing invoices.
There you go. Hot tip, make a different email address and become Susie from accounts.
Oh my God, Susie from accounts. We all need Susie from accounts.
So before we had to scrap it because Sarah used the word anti-aging, which we also don't like. We prefer the term age management. It's much more empowering and puts a much more positive spin on it, because aging is inevitable. So is there a bit of a focus that you put into your work that is also trying to empower your customer to frame the process of beauty in a much more positive way?
Yeah, it's interesting because we actually don't use the word anti-aging at gloss.etc, and we haven't done for the last 3 years, and it's so conditioned from the 15 years of writing to say that when I said it before, I was like, oh no, we don't say that. And we actively don't use the word anti-aging because it's a privileged age. We all know that. And we are pro looking after your skin. We are pro looking after your health and wellness to support all of that. And we're pro treatments and products that will help you feel good about yourself. That's what we are trying to do. We're not trying to, anti-age you. We're not putting this negative spin on. We're not trying to erase the years of your life and the history that you have, that you wear on your skin. We just want people to feel good about themselves. And that's what we're all about. We're very honest about the products that we review in gloss.etc and what they can and can't do. We don't want people to think that there are miracle products. There just aren't. Your skin will only go so far. Like you said, there's only so much retinol or prescription retinol that you can put on your face. It's not going to erase your history, your life on your skin altogether. So we're very realistic about what products can and can't do. And I think as an industry, we can all do better at changing, I guess, the narrative around that. And, when you look to celebrities and how amazing their skin is, they've got amazing skin. They've got teams of people who have worked hard to get their skin to that level, and all the lasers and all the
makeup.
And a truckload of makeup. It's not realistic, and not everyone will have the means to to achieve that as well, because of course it's financially, very expensive to have skin like a celebrity. So yeah, I think that we're really good at being realistic about what products can and can't do as well.
I will have very short philosophical moments, and I think, am I perpetuating this bad culture of people feeling that they need to actually do anything to make themselves look any different or to look any better? If this industry disappeared overnight, like what would it do? Would it be a positive thing or would it be a very negative thing? I often will justify that to me, knowing that we actually are a customer service business first. We love looking after people, and the way that we look after people is by touching their skin. And I guess we built a clientele of people who subsequently want to have their skin looking and feeling better for A, B, C, D reason, but we hope that people will always leave here feeling better about themselves because they've had a moment of self-care, they've had, the power of touch, and the relationships that we build here and the conversations we have here are extremely powerful. So,
and I think the fact that you're actually questioning that shows the humanness of it. Like, you're not just trying to sell, and we're doing the same thing. We're not just trying to sell. Like, and we have the same thing where we question, our part in the whole game, I guess, and what our part is in making people feel better. And we often send links to articles that we've read that question that type of thing as well, and start discussions with our readers about how they feel. But I think changing the narrative with language is a really good start, and having the intent obviously as well to help someone feel better, rather than, just shoving products down their throat. That's a key difference. And that's how, I guess, what makes us feel comfortable with doing what we're doing.
And being on the right side of it, because there's a dark side to this industry. So Sarah, let's jump on the treatment bed. Sarah's had 1 or 2 facials before, so no pressure. She's actually been here before, in full disclosure. She had a treatment with Maddie, and now I'm going to give you one, so you have to tell me who's better.
Okay.
So Sarah, as you know, our industry was heavily affected during the COVID years. In your opinion, when we think of the industry as a whole, do you think that COVID has had a positive outcome for our industry or not?
The biggest change I saw was actually in the consumer or the reader from our point of view, and their mindset and how they changed, because obviously everyone had more time to spend on self-care, and I think that is only positive. Like, people asking more questions so that they're not just blindly following the marketing train.
Priorities shifted, and so a lot of people that didn't really have that as a high priority were now starting to move into that world of self-care. I don't want to use the word addictive, but when you see the positive change that active skincare can make in the skin, you only want to continue it. So over that period too, there were people that were certainly overdoing it, right? We would talk here about this side pandemic going on, which was the perioral dermatitis. And that was very much due to stress and the wearing of masks, but it was certainly being exacerbated by people self-prescribing, taking their skin into their own hands and really just overdoing it, thinking that, oh God, well, I've heard about how good vitamin A is for the skin, so if I use it twice the amount, then surely it'll be twice as good. But we know that that's just not actually how it works.
There was a deeper appreciation for professional treatments when we were finally reunited after
Absolutely.
COVID. I know for sure. I was rejoicing. My skin was rejoicing.
So people often comment to me, how do you keep up with sort of the latest and greatest of what's going on in this industry? And my response now actually is, do you know what? This industry doesn't move that fast. things are advanced, right? It's the same but better. How do you think the industry moves? Do you think very quickly, and do you think it moves well in that respect?
If I read another press release from a new brand, who say that they found a gap in the market, which I could name 10, 12, 20 products that have literally already filled that gap in the market. At the same time, the innovation is exciting. I don't expect every product launch that I write about or that gets me excited to be reinventing the wheel. I mean, how many wheels can we have? I just, that actually filled a need in the market, and that is, an accessibility price point with very high quality product. For example, your vitamin C, which I'm a huge fan of. We get asked the question all the time from people, can you recommend an accessibly priced vitamin C? I'm not blowing smoke. I don't need to. You can go back and read the gloss.etc. edition where I've raved about it before.
It's a high selling SKU.
And it is,
Absolutely.
and it is amazing. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you're actually genuinely filling a need here, because, when people ask, there's like maybe 2 or 3 in the market at that price point.
So Sarah, in your opinion, what is going on with your skin?
Look, I have a little bit of congestion. I've always had a little bit of congestion around my chin. I've got a really vascular nose and some little, what do you call these little
Dilated capillaries
around there. Obviously a few little lines around, especially around my eyes. I'm just after great clarity, a lot of glow and hydration.
You know what? They're what I call the easy wins. That philosophy around predominantly wanting the clear, fresh, glowy, hydrated skin, I think that's great, because that will also hide a multitude of sins, right? And a lot of people will come to us, as I said, with that long list of concerns, but they've never had a treatment before. So I say, look, let's just put in abeyance the pigment, the redness, the age management, because you don't even know how good your skin's going to look, or how you're going to feel about your skin just when you start giving it some love, right? So I'm just trying to encourage people to think a little bit more short term in the beginning. I can think of so many times that people have said after a few treatments, I don't care about those lines on my forehead anymore. No. My skin is looking so good. I feel so much better about myself.
When it's clear, then you don't care. Like, I don't really care about the lines around my eyes and stuff, because if my skin is looking great and it's glowing, that all doesn't matter.
So how many people on your database, Sarah?
Oh, we have just over 4,000.
Amazing.
Yeah. But we also have this insane engagement. So we have our open rate of 60%, which is...
That's huge.
Yeah, which is huge, because, I guess you don't subscribe to a beauty newsletter unless you're interested in beauty, right? So they know what they're getting.
Who are you curating your content for?
Definitely informed by our readers, for sure. They're really great, as well as being a good reminder of topics that we might need to revisit, because obviously Sharina and I have been writing about certain things for a really long time, and we kind of almost forget sometimes that, some people might not know, for example, the difference between chemical and physical exfoliation or something like that. So it's a really great reminder that we have to revisit topics often and keep re-educating people. The rest of it is also our natural curiosity as journalists, finding the answers to the questions that we want to know, and speaking to the experts and the people that will be able to give us those answers. And because if we're curious about it and we're hearing about these sort of buzz topics, it's likely that our readers will be curious about it too.
Has there been a moment where you have ever regretted an article that you've published on gloss.etc?
No, because the thing is that the information and the research is ever evolving, and so what might have been true 10 years ago might not be true now with the new research that we have and that we know. And so it is an industry that is constantly evolving, and also our opinions might be changing as we age and our skin changes as well.
One of the things that we do is we never jump on a trend here. I love just watching new products or philosophies or therapies come out into the market, and I like to watch it for a good 12 months before we even consider if it's something that has merit, something that should be here, and something that is going to stay. We don't use our clients as guinea pigs, but we rely on their feedback to tell us how it went. Were they happy? Were they disappointed? Did it do what it said they would do? It's not even about the treatment being effective itself, it's about the way that people sell the treatment. Like there's a new treatment that came out last year and everyone was getting it. People were going crazy for it and people were expecting these amazing outcomes. And I knew that the outcomes that they were being promised were not going to correlate to the results. So that's why you need to wait 12 months, let everyone get used to using it, get everyone used to actually explaining it and developing who the perfect client is for it as well.
We have to remind people all the time, even with skincare, like something like a vitamin A, you're looking at 3 months to see results. 3 months is a long time. And that, I think, is why people fall into the trap of, using too much and then ruining their skin barrier and that type of thing, because people want results tomorrow.
Our industry can get a very bad name because people are often disappointed with the products they're using, with the results that they're given. If I didn't know what I know, how the hell would I be navigating the crazy world of cosmeceuticals online? Like, put your hands in the care of a dermal clinician. You'll never waste a product ever again. And so we take so much comfort in knowing that every time someone gets on this bed, we'll have a solution. Because I'm never going to flog you a range of skincare and say, I'll see you in 6 weeks' time. I want to know, have I selected the right products for you 2 weeks in to navigate any issues that might be arising? I'll give you a lot of information on your first visit and you're going, but like you're not absorbing it all.
Yeah.
So opportunities to ask more questions and to become part of the process, because I think it's really important that people connect with the things that they put on their body. So over the years, having written many, many stories, would there be one that you are most proud of? Be it was, read the most, or that, was just, it gave you that sense of pride to have published it? And is there one that was particularly hard for you to construct?
Actually, most of the stories that have been hard to write, obviously, haven't been beauty stories. So, as a writer, I write other things other than beauty. And one of these little interests that I have is about grief literacy, and I talk about grief a lot. I lost a parent when I was in my early 20s, and so I've sort of spent a lot of time writing about grief. So I guess that's the hardest because of the emotional output that you put into a story like that, but it's also the most rewarding because of the feedback that you get from people. And about a year ago now, I wrote this article for news.com.au, and it was about King Charles. And I mean, this will sound hilarious. It was about King Charles and his pen, because I don't know if you remember around that time, there was everyone was talking about King Charles like losing it over, not being able to find his pen, or his pen not working when he was signing some documents, and the media were absolutely tearing him down. And this was like maybe 3 days after the Queen had passed. And what I saw in that, having experienced grief myself, was, a man who just lost his mother, who was trying to regain some sort of sense of control over one little aspect of his life. And I wrote this essentially an opinion piece for news.com.au about my take on King Charles and the pen. And the outpouring I had from people who read it was incredible. I had people contact me on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and all the different social media platforms, and then email as well, and reaching out and saying how grateful they were to me for writing this story, because they had lost someone or they had seen the same thing. And often as writers we we put our words out into the ether and we have no idea where they land or who they land with, and if they're really resonating. So to actually have that feedback was incredible.
How do you feel about the sense of what you do being a performance? And your performance is through your words, and your audience are the people that read it, and this feedback that you get is part of the reason why you do it. Because you're not constructing words and not taking the time for the sake of it. You're doing it to affect people's lives positively or provoke thought. And you know, if you considered yourself an actor on stage, you'd have an audience that you're delivering these words to. At the very end, you get claps. So this is that positive reinforcement that you get at the end. Is that really important for you, or just when you receive it, it's just a nice little bonus?
I think we, as a writer, you don't know who it's going to land with, and you sort of write the story almost for yourself, like not knowing how many eyes will be on it. And so it's, when you get feedback, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. There are thousands and thousands of people connecting with these words, and you know, language is so powerful and words can connect people and bring them together. I have always taken my job really seriously because I know the effect that words can have on people, and I think it's just a nice upside when you do get that feedback from people, because you realize that it's more than just a job and you are writing to human people. And you know, I spent 9 years at Girlfriend magazine writing for teenagers, and I took that job so seriously. I used to say that I was an auntie to 350,000 teenage girls.
So we touched on trends before, Sarah. In your opinion, what is your most disliked trend that's come across your desk, and what are you hoping to see more of and less of in the trend department in 2024?
Honestly, like, I'm so sick of basically TikTok rebranding things that we've been doing for years and years and years and giving it a cute name and thinking that they invented it.
God.
Like skin cycling and latte makeup and clean girl makeup. I mean, please, babe. Like, we've been doing that for years. It's just no makeup. You've just given it a new name. You know,
So
skin
great.
cycling. We do that with our retinol anyway. Come on. Like, so that's this constant trend cycle on TikTok and this need to give it a new name and make it cute and catchy. That's like just a little bit boring for, you know, for someone of my vintage who's obviously seen and written about the trends for years and years and years. But also just on TikTok, it's got a lot to answer for. I mean, especially with the tweens sort of coming into this market, and I've got, you know, a niece and friends who are 12 or 13 years old, and like they give me their list of products that they want for Christmas, and it's all like really highly active cosmeceuticals.
Yes.
And I'm just like, babe, you haven't even hit puberty yet, and you want to put like, you know, a 20% glycolic on your face. Like, no way. So I think that it's got, I would love to see teens, you know, going back to, I don't know, worrying about their pimples rather than getting, you know, Baccarat Rouge at Mecca. But, you know, I think that that's like, I guess, a bigger issue, not necessarily even a trend, but the trend cycle is sweeping them up. And I think that we're going to see how that affects their skin. Like, I mean, sure, my niece has me to like say absolutely not and sort of rein her back in and, you know, hand her, you know, a gentle cleanser and a gentle moisturizer to keep her skin, you know, in check. But not everyone has a beauty editor as an auntie. And so where are all those girls going, and where are they getting their advice? Because the people who are selling them these products on TikTok are in their 20s or 30s. And I'm really worried about, I guess, the health of their skin, and that they're going to be messing up, and we're going to see all these destroyed skin barriers sort of in the teenage years. And also, I just, you know, they've got
the rest of their lives to worry about those sorts of things. Yeah, I guess that's a big concern for me in general. Is that the TikTok cycle is brutal and it's just constant, and just seems like no one can catch their breath. So I guess I would like to see not the death of TikTok, but the trend, the trend-driven stuff on there, and also those really long talony nails with all the things on it. That can die. That can die with 2023, please. Thank you.
And I think whether you're 15 years old or you're 40 years old, I think a rite of passage for a lot of people is fucking up your skin barrier, right? And then learning what to do with it, right? And growing from that experience. So
I mean, we had Bonnie Bell, we had the 1006 paint stripper toner.
Totally.
So there's certainly that, for sure.
So maybe these kids are just going to, have this earlier experience with what it means to push your skin too far, and then come back from it, and then maybe even, learning from that at an earlier age, and it's, maybe just having putting a positive spin on it. Like, I'm such an optimist. I hope that actually it will be in their best interest going forward. But the whole skin flooding, skin cycling, skin slugging, it annoys me for a minute, right? Because I just think, we've been doing this for such a long time. You're hydrating your skin and you're locking it in. This is not rocket science, but anything to get people doing stuff, if they need a catchy name to do it, I'm actually here for it.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the clients who walk in and be like, I want to do skin flooding, James. I'm like, yeah, you do it already. All this shit you put on your skin, that's skin flooding, aka looking after yourself.
Yeah.
So Sarah, thank you so much for letting me give you a facial and for being so open and honest with us about your journey. I'm sure you've had a facial or two in the past.
Just maybe one or two.
All right. So I hope that your skin will enjoy that. I believe that it takes a shitload of determination, hard work and perseverance to get where we are. But I also believe that it is so important to look after yourself, and self-care plays a big role in actually being able to help others. So what self-care practices do you put into place so you can be the best version of yourself?
Such a good question. And, it's not actually a beauty moment for me. Getting offline is really important to me. I don't do it as often as I should, but it's really important to recharge and step away from online life, I think, and reconnect with people in real life. It's so novel now, and again, it was something we really didn't have during COVID. And I think everyone was really craving that human connection again.
Would you say that your line of work is strictly digital?
No, I mean, because beauty editors go to a lot of events.
Okay, great.
So there's a lot of output. There's a lot of, putting the sparkly hands on, and and a lot of chit chat and everything. So there's a lot of sort of emotional output again. So, but it just doesn't end because, when we were teenagers, and obviously social media didn't exist. You could go home after school and you could switch off, and now there is no switching off. Kids, as well, they go home and they're still online, and it's this 24/7 constant connectivity, and it's exhausting. It really is so exhausting. So I think it's really important for us to sort of step away from that every now and again and sort of recharge. And I think it helps with the sort of anxiety that you get from, even if you're not anxious by nature, I think that social media can really have that effect on you. And I think having a practice like yoga, I practice yoga, again, not as often as I would like, but at least once a week. And it's so important to me. Those it's like a non-negotiable. I book my yoga time in like I would a meeting with a friend or a work meeting. I don't change it because I know how much I need it. I need it to be a better parent. I need it to be a better friend, a better partner. I need it to be more creative. I need my batteries recharged. For me, it's really important that they see that I take self-care time for myself and that I need that for, like, I see doing yoga as a gift to my family as well because it makes me a better person. It's a gift for me, but it's a gift to everybody.
It's so lovely you put it that way because whilst the term is self-care, it's about the effects that self-care has on the important people around us. I believe that those moments I take for myself, as you say, make me a better husband, a better boss, a better therapist. And that's just such a beautiful side effect to actually something that we're essentially trying to do for ourselves, but we know the ripple effect that has on
like
so
we
many other
think of it as
outcomes.
being something selfish, but actually it is something that helps the greater, your greater world around you.
Self-care is not selfish.
No, it's not, but it is something that I think, a lot of women especially really struggle with, this idea of I don't have time for that. And, I had people even in my mother's group used to say, oh wow, I'd love to do yoga, but I don't have time. It's like, well, I don't have time either, but I make time because it's important to my family. It's important to my well-being and everybody.
And you've experienced the positive effects that it has. And I think quite often, I don't want to generalize, some people I know that take that approach, I don't have time to do that. They just haven't quite connected how important it is and actually how much better they will be on the other end of that.
Yeah, that's so right.
But there's so many reasons why people don't do that. And I get that as well. Now tell me, have I taught you anything today?
You did actually, you did. You taught me about lactic acid being the right acid for my skin, and I'd never heard that, not in 20 years. So
What do you exfoliate with?
Whatever is across my desk at any one time.
Fair
I
enough.
have that thing that we're talking about where I feel guilty talking to a dermal clinician about what I put on my skin. But I didn't actually know, I really felt that lactic and glycolic were sort of one for one. And I didn't realize until you were talking me through that, it will be better for my melasma and more hydrating for my skin type. And, that was amazing and really fascinating. See, I'm always learning.
Good. Yeah, no, they're both examples of hydroxy acids, but the lactic has a larger molecule. It will absorb slower and will also activate much more therapeutic benefits to the skin as well. So I'm glad that I taught you a thing or two and you taught me a thing or two as well.
Good.
Thank you so much for coming,
Thank
Sarah.
you for
I really
having
appreciate
me.
it.
I love it here. I know where you live. I'm going to come back.
You're always welcome.